People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Yo, we are gonna go fucking deep here. So in 2019, I was dating 3 girls, and these were 3 girls that I was seeing regularly, that I was spending time with, that I was very intimate with, that were my girlfriends, girls that I would go on dates with, that I would hold hands with, and that I would sleep with, and any one of them I could have chosen to become monogamous with, or, build a deeper relationship with. And one of those girls ended up becoming my life partner, who I'm with now. She's fucking amazing, and I love her to death. So I want to explain to you the mechanisms of how I created this, and explain to you why a lot of guys struggle to actually create abundance in their dating lives, and why a lot of times there's a challenge from getting from I'm trying to meet girls, trying to attract women, putting myself out there, versus I have options. I have girls that I'm seeing that I'm dating, and eventually if I want, I can make one of these girls my girlfriend. So there's an important principle you have to understand, and we're gonna start with this. It's something called the Law of Diminishing Returns, and it's a principle in economics. Here's what it means. It's an economic principle stating that as investment in a particular area increases, the rate of profit from that investment after a certain point cannot continue to increase if other variables remain at a constant. As investment continues past that point, the rate of return begins to decrease. So the really good example of this in economics would be, or production, would be, imagine you have a large field of grain and you're a farmer, and the field has, let's say, 50 acres. I don't know if 50 acres is a lot because I don't know acres, but I'm throwing out random fucking numbers. So imagine 50 acres in this field, and at a certain point you have 3 workers that are plowing that field, trying to return harvest from it, or trying to reap grain from the fucking field. That's good. And let's say you get 2 more workers. They have less room, but they can work faster. There's a certain point though where you have too many workers, and there's actually less efficiency because there's too many workers for the resources that you have, right? That's called the Law of Diminishing Returns. And the same thing actually happens in dating. It's similar. It's not exactly the same because it's not necessarily an economics principle, but it's more of a dating principle. It's closer to a business principle actually. And here's what it is. A lot of men overinvest in dating. So what they do is they create wasted energy and wasted motion, and they literally create a separate persona just to attract women. And I'll give you an example of what this looks like. I've seen a lot of guys do this in their dating journey. So they'll start off, putting themselves out there, and they're like taking a bunch of action, okay? So this is them taking action. They're putting themselves out there, they're going for it, they're meeting girls, all this stuff is good. But then what happens is there's a separation between who they actually are as a person, right? And all this action here. So they're doing, taking a bunch of different actions, trying to chase and get women. So the action is going up. They're investing in women. I'm going to give some examples of what this looks like. But then themselves here as a person, they're not necessarily growing. They're just taking more action. So what will happen is they'll get some hookups maybe, or they'll have a few opportunities with girls that they're, talking to, but it won't really be anything solid. It won't really be where they have women in their lives they can choose from, where they have a life of abundance. Instead, they just have a life of action, where they haven't actually become the kind of person who attracts women. And what I learned is to use the principle of minimalism to create an amazing dating life. It's super powerful, and I think will literally change your life if you can use it the right way. A lot of coaches, I want to be very clear here. A lot of coaches preach this numbers result, and I fucking hate videos like this where the coach, there's a very specific coach in the dating community right now who, I will not say his name, but I know him very well, and I used to train under him kind of, and I used to help him actually coach on a few of his programs, and he's like very proud of his numbers of girls he slept with. I think he slept with like 1,500 girls or something like that, and he's really proud of it, and screams this from the rooftops, like, I've slept with this many girls. Okay, to be honest, once you have hooked up with like 200 girls, getting more girls doesn't do anything for you. I'm being honest. Like, even 100 girls, if you've slept with 100 girls, getting more girls really has no value. You don't learn anything more about yourself or about women. You learn more by getting to know women. That's how you learn about women and become better with women. So just because someone slept with thousands of girls does not mean that they're better with women. That's the truth. It could mean that they're good at picking up girls, but there's a difference between picking up a girl from a club, using lines on Tinder or online dating to get her to your place and get her naked. There's a difference between that and understanding female psychology and how they see the world and how they want to be loved and understood. It also has to do with your own trauma too. So if you're a traumatized person who's fucked a lot of women, you're like, doesn't mean shit. Okay, so I just want to be clear on this. You don't have to go out and have 3 girlfriends. That's unnecessary. What I did was literally because I was a professional at meeting girls, and I have met an unhealthy number of women for a normal man. You do not need to meet this many girls, but the principles will still scale down to your dating life. So maybe you do want to have a few options. Maybe you want to date one girl and then have the option to date a different one if things don't work out, right? This will help you with that, and this training should make things really clear. Here's what I want to say. If this makes sense to you and you're ready to go in and learn this with me, press the subscribe button, press the like button as well, and press the little notification bell, because hey, we're gonna fucking grow together, and we are going to literally take over YouTube and take over the dating space. And I'm super excited for the value and knowledge I'm about to share here in the next couple of months. Okay, so I want to give you some examples of the opposite of minimalism in dating. What are some examples of overinvestment? And these are things that a lot of men do wrong, and I'm going to explain to you what I did to change this, because I was doing these things myself. So the first example that I see the most, the thing that I see literally the most in most men, is over-texting, over-asking, and overthinking. All the overs. So over-texting, over-asking, and overthinking. A lot of men make this mistake. What they'll do is, if there's a girl that they're talking to, or a girl that they got a number from, they set a date up, they'll overthink, how do I respond to and communicate with this woman? And I see it all the time, because in our program, I have guys who are doing this, and I love these guys. I'm helping them all the time, and they're growing and understanding they need to think less. And in fact, one of the guys I worked with, who actually became a very close friend of mine, one of the things he learned from my program, his name is Phil, he's a really good buddy of mine, and shout out to you, Phil. One of the things he learned from the work we did together was actually that he needs to think about what he's texting, what he's communicating to women less, and don't over rationalize and over plan or over game things, if that makes sense. But instead, just do and act and think later, right? And when he acts this way, again, you want to follow a system, you want to follow a framework, you want to follow a process, but he was overthinking, when do I text? Okay, which text is the better one to send? After a certain point, the thinking doesn't help you anymore, it's just do. Like, send her a text. Don't think about when you send it, just text her, right? So that's a big mistake a lot of men make, overinvestment in dating. Another mistake a lot of men make, which is overinvestment, is spending a lot of time dating just to get laid. Okay, this is a huge one. Spending a lot of time dating specifically just to get laid. And by dating just to get laid, what I mean is, I know a lot of guys who go on like 3 and 4 dates to try to get laid with a girl. They'll do it over and over and over again just to get the sex. Now, if you've read any evolutionary psychology, you know this is completely normal and natural. However, if you understand the systems and mechanisms by which women make decisions in dating, and you become more attractive, you can literally exploit the system. Now, exploit doesn't even mean bad. It just means you can work the system to your advantage. So if you're extremely attractive and you understand how to communicate through leadership, you could take a girl home on the first date, right? Or you could maybe go home with her on the second date, or you end up going home with the girl same night. You guys sleep together, then there's that deeper connection because there's intimacy involved, and then you decide, where do I go from here? So a lot of guys make the mistake of spending a lot of time just dating to try to get laid, going on lots of dates, and this weird masculine feminine power dynamic shifts the wrong way, where the woman has all the power and she's like, I'm holding the sex over your head like the little cookie. Do you want the little cookie? Do you want it? Right? And the guy's kind of like, yes, I want the cookie, which is him buying more and more dates. So that fucks up shit as well. It doesn't help you.
Yes, but don't expect any cookie.
But what if I'm hungry?
No cookie.
And then another problem I see is reactivity versus responsiveness. So a lot of men are generally reactive to women instead of responsive. Reactive means you are responding, you're interacting with her in a way where you think that there's something you should do that she wants you to do. That's what reaction is. Reaction is basically, if I say this sentence, it's going to be the right one, and there's a wrong sentence I could say as well. So I need to micromanage what I do, micromanage how I express, so that I don't do the wrong thing and don't fuck it up. Responsiveness is, I understand women as a whole, and I'm aware of her energy, I'm aware of how she feels, so I'm going to interact with that, but I'm not really concerned about doing or saying the right thing. That's responsiveness. A lot of men are reactive, right? I have to say the right thing. Oh, I fucked up. I did the wrong thing. I said the wrong thing. What does she want me to say here? Doesn't matter what she wants you to say. Say what you want to say. Responsiveness is different than reactiveness. This is actually a big principle we teach in our program, so this is really important shit. Another one, number 4, this is the last example of overinvestment that I have here for this training, is putting unnecessary time for a minimal result, okay? And I'll give an example of a friend of mine here. a super cool kid. He's quite good at going out and meeting women in terms of like game pickup. He's very good at it, and he goes out maybe about 5 to 6 days a week to go pick up girls. He takes home maybe 2 girls a week, maybe something like that, and then he'll he goes on maybe 1 or 2 dates every week, maybe sometimes lower, sometimes higher. And for going out this much during the week, sometimes doing some daytime stuff, going out and approaching girls at night, going out all the time, that can be very exhausting, right? So a guy like that, he's really awesome, really attractive guy, he's putting in a lot of time, but the result that he's getting is not equal to the amount of time he's putting in. Again, it depends on also what model you're following. If you want to be a pickup artist, you're good. Go out all the time, and that's it. But I assume you watching this, you don't want to be a pickup artist. You're not like, yeah, my dream is to be in clubs 5 nights a week, opening 20 girls, right? I don't think you want to do that. And if you don't want to do that, what you want is to make sure the ROI on your time is really, really high. And this is what I've gotten to in my game, in my dating life. And I'm going to actually share with you how I did this and built these relationships with these fucking amazing girls. The reason is because the ROI on my time was just so fucking high. So I became the kind of person who just attracted women instead of needing to do pickup to get them. And that doesn't mean I didn't go out to bars and talk to girls, right? But I think there's a fine line between I'm here doing pickup because it's my time of the week to go out versus, hey, there's cute girls in a bar, let me go out, grab a couple drinks, talk to chicks, be with my boys, have an amazing night. And I know I'm gonna meet a chick because I'm the shit, right? There's a difference between these two dynamics, and I'm gonna explain this to you here. What is it that I did to change this? How did I change this in my own dating life? How did I actually get to the point where I had a fuck ton of options and I was dating 3 objectively attractive women that were really cool quality girls and eventually making one of them my partner for life? How did I do that? So number 1 is I became extremely comfortable expressing myself even when I felt tense. This is really important. There's a difference between being just a cool guy and becoming a man of impact, okay? Those are not the same thing. And a lot of guys make this mistake. Actually, whenever we onboard guys into the program, it's called LMC, and it's our year-long mastermind. When I onboard guys in the program, this is almost always where we have to start shifting things every time. So I'm giving you this for free here. What happens is a lot of men are cool guys. They're good guys. They can have a nice conversation. They've got a good vibe, a good energy, a good mind, a good heart, but they have no impact, right? So the woman feels nothing. So she's like, oh, he's nice. Yeah, I would go on a date with him, but I don't feel like I have to chase him and I have to surrender to him. I don't feel that. Because you're not a man of impact. So one of the things that helped me become impactful, and this goes back to the principle of minimalism, this is a huge part of my dating life. One of the things that made me more impactful was I started being able to express myself even when I felt tension. So tension could be, an example of this could be like you could kiss a girl. You and her are looking each other in the eyes deep, you're looking at her lips, she's looking at yours, you guys are looking close, right? An example of me expressing myself would be in that moment, let's say I feel in my head, right? What most guys will do is they won't say anything and they'll just sit there and then the moment will pass and they'll lose that situation, okay? And they'll come back and write a dating report, either, to their buddies, they'll talk about it with their friends, or if they're in our program, they'll write and let me know what happened. And it usually sounds like, I knew what I could have done at the moment, but I wasn't sure where to go from there. Cool, totally get it. But what I'll do is, going back to expressing myself, because in those moments, I feel tension too. Like I've made out with, I don't know how many girls I've made out with, but a lot. But so I don't feel much in those situations, but I still do feel something. I feel like, fuck, it's about to happen. I feel that thing with women still. And what do? I'll just express, like, why are you looking at my lips? Stop fucking doing that. I'm gonna end up kissing you. You're fucking hot. Just don't do it anymore. Right? So now what I'm doing is I'm expressing what's going on. I'm talking about it in the real world. Instead of me just holding it inside and not saying anything, I'm expressing it. So now what happens is I become more impactful to women. And the reason I do is they begin to feel something when they're speaking to me. Women feel something. And the girls I was dating, not just these 3 girls, but a lot of girls I was hooking up with at the time, even while dating these girls, they would tell me, I feel something when I'm with you. Like I feel something. And I'll tell you something weird here. No hate to a lot of other people who are coaching this and are consultants in this, is one thing I found is a lot of men who teach dating, they teach it from the perspective of like, put your best foot forward and have strategies and systems to get the girl. Not necessarily, here's how you make women feel deep shit when she's around you. Here's how you make her mentally and spiritually feel some deep fucking shit. And maybe this is too deep for YouTube. Maybe I shouldn't share all this here, but I'm so passionate about this. What happens is when you interact with women from a place of impact, not just being the cool guy, she's going to feel things when she's around you. She's going to feel this man is a cut above the rest, and I must act differently than I normally would around anyone else when I'm with him. I have to be my most real, most vulnerable, most honest self because he makes me feel something. There's a standard I have to fulfill when I'm with him. So I became extremely comfortable expressing myself even when I felt tense, and I would never filter myself, which allowed women to feel things with me. The second principle that was a part of my transition into minimalism that helped me attract women and build this dating life where I literally had 3 girls dating me and was seeing a bunch of awesome girls is I stopped seeing women as something to gain and instead as someone to understand. Okay, that's really important. I stopped seeing women as something to gain and instead I saw them as someone to understand. A lot of men make this mistake. A lot of men see women as, okay, I got laid, that was a win. What I changed is, and this is difficult though, because it happened after I was starting to get laid. So if you're never ever sleeping with girls, this is not for you. The first step is, hey, go on a couple dates, hook up with a few girls. You're not gonna get to the point where you're dating 3 girls. It's not gonna happen immediately, or it could, but then I'd be shocked. But this is for you. If you've been with a couple girls, you know you can hook up with a girl here and there. This is for you. So I stopped seeing women as something to gain, and instead I saw them as someone to understand, okay? What happened is I flipped the script in my dating life. And I remember when this happened, actually. It happened in 2018. I had launched my first course. I'm not gonna say the name, some of you know. I launched my first online course. It was wildly successful. But the course was all about doing. It was about like strategies to get the girl. Here's what you say, here's what you do, here's the mindsets to have to get her. That course was great. Guys had a lot of success getting girls. But then what happens is I shifted my brain and I was like, because I went through more spiritual work, I shifted and it was like, how the fuck do I actually have women want me instead of me always trying to get them? Well, the shift was, I'm gonna stop trying to get them. I'm gonna stop trying to get the girl because I already can get laid. I know girls like me. I know I'm attractive. Girls already like me. Okay, that's done. Girls like me. So what can I do now? Instead, the only thing left is understand women so deeply, understand them deeply and have empathy and love for them. That's it. So I started doing this and it flipped the script and it took me out of chasing women. So I no longer was trying to get her and instead women started chasing me because there was an absence of me pursuing them. I was going to them and talking to them. I would express how I'm interested in her, but I would just try to get to know her and see, who the fuck are you? What do you believe in? What do you care about? What do you think about? Here's my experience. Here's my worldview. Here's what I've seen. And then she just begins to chase. And it's really crazy what happens when you interact with women this way. It took all the pressure off of me saying all the right things. Because before it would be so much pressure on me. Like I have to say the right thing. I have to manage my words. I have to make sure I don't fuck up. But it removed the pressure of me saying all the right things. And it made me better with women way faster. Like I got so good with women. When I launched my first course, a lot of guys thought I was really good with women, but I wasn't. I was good at picking up girls. I was very good at doing pickup. I was really good at making things happen from the street or setting up dates, getting a number. I was good at that, but I didn't have women in love with me and chasing me. I did not have that. After I figured this out, then all that shifted and girls were like, oh my God, how can I have more of you? Why? It's because I stopped seeing the girl's pussy as a thing that I cared about. I didn't care about it anymore. So now I had power, and it's not like power over her, but it just gave me more leverage because I didn't want the thing anymore, right? So I became a buyer, not a seller. It was fucking crazy. Now, number 3 is I started to work on being way more attractive. This is really simple, okay? This is a simple one. But I noticed a massive shift when I was less attractive versus when I became more attractive. I started dating more girls because everything became easier. So my body language changed to demonstrate relaxation. That was one. I changed my body language. And then I changed my style and my image. That was huge as well. So I started dressing in a way that suited me better. I dressed more creative. I expressed myself a little bit differently, better in my image and my style. And this was simple. It wasn't the biggest change ever, but I couldn't leave it out because this was huge when it came to how I dated women. And I don't think it's the most important thing ever, but how you look is important. Even now, what am I doing? I'm handling my final frontier of looks, I think. I mean, I could keep doing more face care, I guess, but besides that, I'm handling my final frontier, which is getting strong, hitting the gym, right? And I'm working out constantly. I'm investing in my body. I'm still skinny as fuck, by the way, but I'm getting bigger. My clothes fit better. I have more size, and that is making me more attractive to women. So that's important as well. And then number 4, here was the 4th principle, and the last principle that's super important is I started becoming a buyer, not a seller. And I referenced this earlier, but I want to explain it again. I became a buyer, not a seller. The dating marketplace is super competitive, guys. Like, you don't understand how competitive it is. You know how they say we're in a recession with dating, or with finance? We're in a recession. We're hitting the recession, or it's already here, whatever the fuck it is, right? We're hitting a recession in dating. It's really, really bad. The guys who have the most are getting more. I know this because I'm one of those guys. I'm in a relationship. Like, I'm in a relationship. I am fucking married to an amazing woman, and I still have more options than single guys. Many, not all of them, but many single guys. And I'm not saying that to flex or brag. I should have options. I'm literally a dating consultant, so it should be very easy for me, or else I shouldn't be teaching this, right? But I have all these options. That is horrible. The separation between someone like me, who's literally in a relationship and can still get girls, while I'm not even trying, versus the guys who are at the bottom struggling. The dating marketplace is becoming ridiculously competitive. And it's not a good thing either. When I work with clients and guys come into our program, I'm like, bro, the first thing you need to do is level the fuck up in the marketplace. That's the first thing you need to do. Like, work on your fitness. A lot of my guys are already working on their fitness. The next thing is work on your communication skills, work on your attractiveness, work on your social media, right? We're actually about to do a massive social media challenge inside of our program right now. Super powerful stuff. But the reason is because the dating marketplace is super competitive. It's so fucking competitive. So what I started doing is I started working on myself aggressively while building relationships. So I would meet the girls, and I started dating these girls, seeing them again, investing in them, taking them out, sleeping with them. While I was doing that, I started working on myself even more. I actually started to work out, right? I started to make way more money. I actively built the business so I could make way more money almost passively, or at least I could travel to places that would pay me, essentially. Not passive income, but still nice income to have that. So I started doing that and building that. So I started rising in the dating marketplace, and gradually I became a buyer because my value increased. Not a total buyer, because as a man, you'll always be selling yourself to some extent to some level of woman, always. But I became to the point where I didn't need to sell myself constantly, and I was a buyer in the dating marketplace. This, my friends, is how you're going to literally attract women. These are the principles of minimalism. It's really simple. Become comfortable expressing yourself when tense. Stop seeing women as a thing to gain and instead someone to understand. That's going to change a lot for you. Become way more attractive so everything is just easy. If you're attractive, like a 7 or plus out of 10, everything is fucking easy with dating. I'm telling you, as a guy who's worked on his attractiveness, it's a cheat code. You don't need to do all this game shit. You want to have a framework, because then what'll happen is girls will like you and you'll do nothing with it if you don't understand systems. But you want to work on becoming attractive so that the system and the process of connecting with women can be way easier for you. And then you want to be a buyer, not a seller, right? You want to buy. You don't want to be the person selling yourself to women. You want to be the person who can choose women. That's how you have a life of freedom and a life of abundance, okay? Hopefully this meant something to you. And if it did and you want to go deeper, if you want to take this farther, there's 2 things you can do. 1, I made a training. I gave away my 4-step system that I give to my clients and that I personally use to attract more women into my life. The link to that is below. It's a video you can watch, a training you can watch, where I break down this system and talk to you about how you can actually create relationships with women, how you can attract women extremely effortlessly. I'm not kidding. It's ridiculous how effortless it can be. You don't understand how easy it can be. How you can attract women effortlessly, learning this 4-step system. So I give that to you in this training. Alternatively, if you love my stuff and you're like, hey, Tim, I trust you and I want to figure out how we can do this together, you can book a call with me. You can schedule a discovery call. It's a half-an-hour call. And on this call, we're going to plan out a game plan and a system for you to actually attract women and build your dream dating life and your dream lifestyle in the next 90 days. And we're going to invite you, if it's a good fit on both of our sides, for me and for you, to join our consulting program and to start growing with me, growing with my tribe, and learning with us. We get you crazy results very quickly through learning systems, accountability, and taking action, okay? So if you want to do that, there's also a link below. You can book a discovery call with me. It's a free call. We'll see if you're a good fit. All right, that's it. Be blessed, and I will see you on the next training, my friend.